First you go through the class 7th book. There are so many things are there in that. So first you just read that one. Okay, after that you go through this video. Now the chapter name is how do organisms reproduce. It means simply we told that is reproduction. Okay, the topics that we are going to cover in this video, that the first topic and the main topic, that is what is reproduction. As you already know that in the previous classes that reproduction are of two types, that is asexual and sexual reproduction. In asexual reproduction there are so many points are there, that is fission, fragmentation, regeneration, vegetative propagation, spore formation. And in sexual reproduction we have to know about, in this video we have to know about reproduction in plant as well as in human being. But before starting, I told you two topics. That first one is this one, that is DNA, because we all know that in class 9 that we all know that chromosome is there, and chromosome is responsible to transfer the genetic material from one generation to another generation. So first we will know about the chromosome. That chromosome is made up of nucleic acid, that is DNA or RNA. In our body that is DNA, but in other organism it will be RNA also, but here we will know about the DNA and a special type of protein, that is histone protein, and that I already teach in class 9th. Though as we know that DNA is full from the deoxyribonucleic acid. This is the blueprint or master copy, also known as blueprint or master copy. It help in the formation of chromosome. Chromosomes help to transfer the genetic material or genetic information from one generation, that is parental generation, to another generation, that is offspring generation. Okay, so one protein is that is histone protein is also responsible. Now come to the next topic, that is DNA duplication and replication. There is two things, that is duplication and replication. Okay, the first thing, that is duplicate means the copy it will be made. There are two different, that the DNA have two strands, that both strands are different to each other. DNA have two strands and the both strands are just separated to each other, and both the strands are made their own copies. So the first step, that is duplication, and the next one is replication. Duplication means separation of the chromosome strands, and the replication means formation of that copies, that chromosome with the similar copies. Okay, so these are the two things. Okay, this one is the basic one. Next one is variation. Variation is most important, because without variation we cannot identify the particular organism or the particular species. We will see that in our houses there are so many variations are there. In between the father and the child's, so many variation. It will be exception in twins it will be exception, but there are so many variation is also there in the twins. So variation is very important, and it is important for the environmental niches to survive of any organism. Okay, now come to the next one, that is importance of DNA copy in reproduction. There are so many importance of DNA copying, because as we already know in class 8, that is chapter number, I think that is one is 10th, that is chapter name is adolescence and puberty. Chapter number 7 is that is biodiversity. Chapter number 8, that is simply a cell. Chapter number 9, that is reproduction, and the last one is adolescence and puberty. In that chapter in class 8, you will know that half of the chromosome is come from the father and half of one will come from the mother. And if both one will be combined together, then it will the formation of a single one, then it will become whether in the boys or whether it was in the girls. So there is a formation of the copies. Suppose that if half of the chromosome will just come from the father, so that half chromosome which was present in the father body have make a copy. So that one is called as DNA copying, and also in the same case in the mother. So DNA copying is also necessary. ठीक है, DNA copy means the production of exact copy of the original, but the process of DNA copying will have some variations. Okay, and these variation is help in the formation of new species, new and stable and specific species. Okay, now let's start the reproduction. As it is known name, re plus production, that is not correct one, but only for thinking that it one is correct. Formation of new individual, formation of new species from their same kind, from the previous one, or reproduction is the process by which organism generate new individual of their same kind. It means any organism will generate a new species but of their same kind. This one is simply called as the reproduction. Okay, as we know that reproduction are basically two types, that is asexual and second one is sexual reproduction. So the first one is asexual reproduction. As it name, that is asexual, means here A means one. It means in this reproduction only one individual is required, only single parent is required. Okay, it means the reproduction in which a single parent is required, that is called as asexual reproduction. Okay, asexual reproduction are categorized into so many ways. Number one, that is fission. As it name, fission means breakdown, is in broken. Fragmentation is also that is broken. Regeneration, let's see what will happen, that is budding, vegetative propagation, and last one is spore formation. Now come to the first one, that is fission. Fission means breakdown, it means just broken down. So if the fission is basically two types, number one is binary fission and number two is multiple fission. In binary fission, the organism is break down into two parts only, but in multiple fission, the organism will be break down or divided into more than two bodies. Okay, the best example of the binary fission, that is amoeba and paramecium. The best example is amoeba. In your syllabus, that is amoeba example is there, not paramecium. So the example is also come in the examination. Okay, so binary fission, the best example is amoeba, and the multiple fission, the best example is plasmodium. Plasmodium, as you already know, plasmodium is called as malarial parasite. It means this microorganism causing disease, that is called malaria. Okay, now come to the next one, that is fragmentation. Fragmentation means broken down into smaller pieces. The best example is Spirogyra, Eulothrix. These are some algae. These are some filamentous algae. Filamentous means they are long, so much long. They are just broken down into smaller pieces, and each smaller pieces has able to develop a single organism. So each cell of these organisms are totipotent cell. Totipotent cell means the cell which have capability to develop a new organism. Okay, so this one is called as fragmentation. Next one is regeneration. The best example is regeneration, that is planaria. Planaria is the best example. Okay, here the planaria is simply broken down into simpler pieces, and each part of the planaria developed a new individual. So one question is arise in your mind, and this is your homework, just listen it. Then what is the difference between a regeneration and fragmentation? Because both are same. Okay, this one is the question, just think about it. Okay, Next one, that is budding. The best example, that is hydra and yeast. Yeast is a unicellular fungus. Okay, this one. In this, the diagram, that is hydra diagram, is there. So you see that the parental body is there, and in that parental body a small protuberance will become on their body, that is called as bud. Later that bud is developed to the adult one and detached from the mature body. It means parental body. Okay, after growing, that it will be detached from the parental body. So in this way the hydra will grow. Same will happen in the, that is yeast one. Yeast is the best example of budding also. Next one is vegetative propagation. As it is named, vegetative means plants, it occur only in the plants. Okay, it means it is a type of asexual reproduction that I already told. Each and every plant part, some plants have a capability, some plants part have a capability to develop a new plant. Okay, that is basically called as vegetative. It means vegetative part of the plant have been able to develop a new plant body. That is called as vegetative propagation. The first example that is it was given, that is bryophyllum. You see that. Later we will discuss about the bryophyllum. Okay, the first one, that is chrysanthemum. Vegetative propagation to the chrysanthemum. Chrysanthemum, the main, that is sucker, it means root. If we grow a chrysanthemum on a single plant, on a single pot, okay, later their branches will be arises under the ground, and so many chrysanthemum will be grown on that field area. Only the sucker, it means that simply we will told that root or adventitious root will develop a new plant body. Okay, next one, that is pista. Pista, it means water lily. Water lily, basically it will be grow by the, that is bud or leaf. With their leaf it will be developed into new individual. So it can be vegetative propagated by to the leaf. One example is more, that is bryophyllum. That is, I already told you, in bryophyllum there is a leaf blade, and each notch of the leaf blade have developed a new individual, new bird, and that bird will grow a new plant body. Okay, so remember that plant. Next one is potato. Potato, there are so many potato, you see there are so many eyes are there, or protuberance are there. Okay, if we cut that eyes and just put it on the soil, then a potato plant will grow on that. Okay, so vegetative part is also helping that. Next one is spore formation. Rhizopus is the best example, and I told you one thing, in that three set, one of them, in that one of them, spore formation will definitely come. In the spore formation, Rhizopus is the Rhizopus is the best example. At the bulb of Rhizopus, it means tip of Rhizopus, so many spores are present. Due to the pressure, the wall become ruptured and the spore will become outside, and that spore will be moved with the help of wind, water, soil, or anything, and is spread, and there will be a formation of a new individual. So there is the formation, this is the spore formation. Next one is sexual reproduction. Sexual, that is, it is a name, that is sexual means both sex are involved, that is male and female, both sex are involved in this. Okay, there is the formation of gamete also. Gamete means half of the chromosome, already told in last ninth also. Okay, reproduction will be there. So we'll start. The first one is this flower. You just think about the hibiscus rosa sinensis, that is basically called as China rose. Okay, you see that all the parts. Flower is the reproductive part of the plant. Flower is the reproductive part of the plant because it contains androecium, it means male part, and gynoecium, it means female part. Okay. Male part, it means androecium, have so many things, that is filament, anther, and so many pores, it means that is pollen grain. Female have three parts. The upper part is called as stigma, and longitudinal part is called as style, and below it, that is called as ovary. Okay. The flower, which contain calyx, corolla, androecium, and gynoecium, then it was called a complete flower or bisexual flower. Okay. So question, be ready for the question. Name any two plant which are bisexual, and name any two plant which are unisexual. These two you have to write. This is the question. Okay. Now let's next one. Advantage of vegetative propagation. There are so many advantages of the vegetative propagation. The plant developed by vegetative propagation are genetically similar because that is arise from the same plant, so they are similar. Okay. They earlier they goes to rise the seed. Vegetative propagation bear flower and fruits. Earlier they hundreds of genetical isomer plant can be propagated from a single plant. With the help of single plant, we can develop 100 of genetical similar plant. The plant which do not produce seed, suppose that if any plant which we have which do not produce seed, which can be easily propagated with the help of vegetative reproduction, it needs less attention than rose from the seed. Less attention is required in that. Okay. Next one. This is the LS of a flower. Suppose that this one is the hibiscus, that is commonly called as gudhal. Suppose that this one is the gudhal flower. You see that pistil you see, pistil is gynoecium, it means female reproductive organ. You see that it is divided into three parts: stigma, style, and ovary, the solent part. Inside the ovary there is structure that is called as ovule. The second one is, you see that stamen is also called as androecium, that is male reproductive organ. You see that it is divided into two parts, that is filament and anther. Okay. The colorful part of the flower is called as petal. If single one is called as petal, and combine it called as corolla. And the below one you see that sepal, combined it was called as calyx. So this one is not in your course, but just think about that. Next one, that is pollination. Pollination means antinomophily, that is later we will discuss, but simply you know that pollination, transfer of pollen grain from anther to stigma. You know that anther, inside the anther there are so many pollen grains, millions of pollen grain are present inside the anther. So that anther, and inside the anther male gamete is there, and inside the ovule female gamete is there, the fusion of male gamete and female gamete. So first pollen grain will be transferred at the tip of the female part, that is stigma. Okay. So transfer of pollen grain from anther to the stigma is called as pollination. Okay. It will be transferred with the help of wind, insect, animal, us, water. So there are so many ways. Just next one, first pollination are basically two types. Suppose that if pollen grain will be transferred to the same flower stigma, suppose that it is a gudhal, pollen grain anther and that is ovary present in a single flower, so that pollen grain will be transferred to the same flower stigma, that is called as self pollination. But the second thing is that if the pollen grain will be transferred to one flower to the different flowers stigma of the same plant or the different plant, Okay, that is called as cross pollination. Clear? Now come to the next one. Process of fertilization in plant. In plant, pollination is followed by fertilization. Okay, if the pollination will be not there, so fertilization will be not there, because inside the pollen grain male gamete is there, and inside the ovule female gamete is there. Okay, so the pollen grain will be deposited at the tip of stigma. So many pollen grains are deposited on the stigma, but only one will be successfully grow, and that one will be grow a tube that is being basically called as pollen tube. Inside the pollen tube there are two male gametes. Okay, that male gamete will be easily reaches to the ovule. Ovule have two parts. The below one, that is simple a pore, that is called as micropyle, and above that is called as chalazal, that is letter, but that pore is called as micropyle, and that micropyle will be allowed to enter that pollen tube inside the nucleus. Now see that diagram. You see that pollen grain is at tip, a long tube will be there, that is pollen tube. You see that pollen tube will be enter through a pore that is called as micropyle, and inside, if it was entered inside that, you see that there is a egg cell and polar nuclei. Polar nuclei have two nucleus inside that, and egg cell have one nucleus. So pollen grain have two male gamete, one male gamete fused to the egg cell and second one fused to the polar nuclei. So this is structure, this, so two ways of fertilization is there, so they are called as double fertilization, because one male gamete is fused to the egg cell and second one is fused to the polar nuclei. So fertilization is of two times, so they are called as double fertilization. First thing. Second thing is that if polar nuclei fuse with the male gamete, it will be formed 3n chromosome, because already they have two nucleus and one male gamete nucleus, so completely it is called as 3n. In egg cell, one nucleus is there, it will be fused with the male gamete, it means 2n is there. So it was three times fusion is there, so they are called a triple fusion. So double fertilization and triple fusion, basically both are same. Okay, after the triple fusion there is a formation of endosperm. That endosperm give nutrition to the developing seed. Okay, the best example, that is coconut. Next, post fertilization, it means after the fertilization what are the changes will be there. One of, already told, first to see, one of the male gamete fuse with the egg cell to form a diploid zygote. This process is called as zygamy. Another male gamete fused with the two polar nuclei, that is diploid, that is PEN, that is primary endosperm nucleus. This fertilization is called as triple fusion. As two fertilization take place simultaneously in the embryo sac, this process is called as double fertilization. After the fertilization, there will be the zygote, and zygote will be developed into embryo, and that primary endosperm that change into endosperm. The endosperm provide nutrition to the developing embryo, it means developing seed, it means developing zygote. Okay, after fertilization, the sepal, the petals are fallen down. Okay, and the ovary are changed into the fruits, and ovule change into the seed. Okay, this one is most important, because so many times that I am also confused in that, so many times, but not now. So previously that I will confuse, but here just you learn that one. Okay, that first point, all the points important, but first point and the last point is most important. Okay, just think. Next, male reproductive system. Now we have to come in our body, it means animal one. Male reproductive system have consist of one pair of testes, that is two testes, which was lie on an abdominal area. The area where the testis is present, a muscular bag that is called as scrotum. It will be present outside of the abdominal cavity, not inside. Okay. Testis have also have arise a hormone that is called as testosterone. Okay. There is a tube-like structure which was just attached to the testis, that is called as vas deferens or sperm duct. It utilized to duct. It arises into the urinary bladder. It is common form. It is a common tube which is called as urethra. So above the urethra, a muscular layer is present that is called as penis. So we will told that the urethra have released both urine as well as sperm. So urethra is commonly called urinogenital duct. This question will definitely come in the examination. Okay. Next one, scrotum. Scrotum is the area where testis is present outside of the abdominal cavity between the two legs. Okay. So here sperm have required 2 to 3 degrees Celsius less than the body temperature, lower than the body temperature, normal body temperature, because sperm will easily grow on that temperature. Okay. Function of the testis have so many functions that is already told that it will release a hormone that is called as testosterone, which develop male secondary sexual character and also help to the formation of sperm. Okay. This one is the diagram, simple diagram of male reproductive organ. Here you see that seminal vesicle and prostate gland. Just one question will be always arise, that what is the work of seminal vesicle and prostate gland in the male reproductive organ. Both help for make the path of the sperm smooth and give nutrition to the sperm. Okay, you see that one thing, that is testis have one pair testis is present. Above that testis you see that one tube will be go, that is called as vas deferens. That vas deferens is also called as sperm duct because it carries sperm. That vas deferens is just connect to the one tube like structure, that is urethra. Urethra have a muscular layer that is called as penis. So above that you see that bladder is there. Bladder is stored the urine. So the single path, that is urethra, have a single path to release urine as well as sperm. So it is, the urethra is commonly called urinogenital duct. Okay. So this one is the preview of the male reproductive system. This one is important also. So many questions will be arise from that. Now come to the female reproductive system. Female reproductive consists of one pair of ovaries, that is two ovaries. Each ovary have released two hormone, that is estrogen and progesterone, which later we will discuss. Okay. It will be present near the abdominal cavity. Okay. Okay. Each ovary have contains so many lobules or regulatory structures which produce egg during puberty time. Near the posterior of each kidney, a tube will be present. It means a tube will be attached to each ovary called fallopian tube. Okay, or oviduct. The fallopian tube is just open into a uterus. That uterus is open into the vagina through the cervix, the muscular layer. Okay, the function of the ovary is very simple, that it produces egg or ovum, and it also produces some hormone. Here one hormone is there, that is estrogen. So simply learn that estrogen. This is the diagram of the female reproductive organ. You see that the ovary, one pair of ovary is there. Above that ovary a tube is there, that is called as oviduct or fallopian tube, where fertilization will be there. So it will be open into a common duct that is called as uterus. Uterus will be open into vagina, muscular opening that is called as cervix. Okay. Now come to the next one. Accessory gland which are associated with the male reproductive, there are so many accessory that I already told, that is seminal vesicle and prostate gland. Copper's gland is also there. Seminal vesicle here, that seminal vesicle is give nutrition to the sperm, okay, and that is prostate gland also help to make the path smoother for the sperm. Copper's gland secretes some lubricant, which simply it was secreted as sugar, which give nutrition to the sperm, okay. Next one, the role of placenta. Placenta is present in the uterus of the female body, okay. Placenta is a disc type structure which was present on the inner lining of uterus, where embryo will be attached and developed, where it will be take nutrition from the mother body as well as oxygen. Blood will also supply through placenta with a tube called as umbilical cord. It also transport waste material and carbon dioxide from the fetus to the mother body, okay. So normal the roles of placenta will be in your course, not detailed one. What will happen if fertilization does not occur? If fertilization does not occur, so already you know in class 8 that menstruation cycle, or commonly called as periods, will become. The inner lining of, because female have maturity period, so each alternate ovary have produce ova in alternate month. So that ova, if it was not fertilized, then it will be released out from the body through the vagina in every month of that. It will be take 2 to 5 days, that is commonly called as bleeding period, and the cycle will be operated, that is called a menstruation cycle, okay. This one, in this one, the uterus wall will become swell, and so many bloods will be deposited on that due to the pressure of ova, that the wall become ruptured, okay, and that blood will be removed from the body through the vagina, okay. Different method of contraception. There are so many different method. Contraception means unwanted pregnancy. Then number one is natural method. Natural method means just withdrawing means do not eject sperm inside the body of female. Barrier means just protect their body. There are so many various method. Physical device, that is condoms or diaphragms or vesicles, okay. Copper T is also used by the females, okay. This will be help for the unwanted pregnancy, but condom also help to protect the body from various diseases, but not the copper T. This question will become in the examination also, okay. Chemical method, there are so many oral pills, it means there are so many medicines will be available in the markets, okay, which can be used by after the fertilization or before the fertilization. Surgical method, there are so many surgical method will be there, that is tubectomy and vasectomy. In tubectomy, that is fallopian tube will be cut and bind. Through that, sperm will be not enter and not fuse. If sperm will be enter, then it will be not fused to the ova. Vasectomy means that is sperm duct will be cut and bind. Through that, sperm will be not enter into the, okay. There are so many ways. Contraceptive method, surgical method, so many ways in that. Expand, there are so many short form that come in the examination, that is HIV, that is immunodeficiency virus. AIDS, that is acquired immunodeficiency syndrome. IUCD, that is intrauterine contraceptive device, that is intrauterine means it will be this contraceptive device will be just ejaculate in the female body or uterine. OC, that is oral contraceptive method. STD, that is sexually transmitted disease. This one is most important, one question that I will given you, that is name any 2 STD disease. STI, that is sexually transmitted infections. RTI, that is reproductive trait infection.